Hi audience and student. This is about the Middlebrooks extra element theorem and the relationship with coupled converter. We went through the definition of uncoupled converter and the control design of uncoupled converter. We found the control design is for the uncoupled converter. Control design is exactly the same as resistive load case. So we don't have any problem. So you are using all the theoretical discussions in the text, okay, which assumes a pure resistive load. Okay. But then the problem is the uncoupled converter is coupled with non-resistive, non-linear impedance element, load impedance or source impedance. Then what will happen? Okay, what kind of change will occur? The answer that is given by this Middlebrooks extra element theorem. Okay, so this man Middlebrook is the father of power electronics. Okay, he is your father. Okay, so let me summarize what we have done, okay, briefly. So this is what we have done in the previous lecture. So simplified representation of front-end converter was this one, okay. So the DC information is given, but AC information is unknown. And even worse, it is undefined at the stage of power system. So we developed the concept of uncoupled converter. That is the design-oriented representation of converter in DC power distribution system or any load, any non-resistive load. Okay. Then we went through this, right? Using Middlebrooks extra element theorem. So this is the coupled converters. So you can have three different cases of coupled converter. So in here, we are still using this ideal voltage source, but we have load impedance. This is called load coupled converter. Here we are using this current sink, ideal current sink, and this is called the source coupled converter. Okay. In here, this is the practical source subsystem, and this is the load impedance. Okay, so this is the source and load coupled converter, or completely coupled converter, or simply coupled converter. Okay, so what we are dealing with is this. Okay, we have some result of this. We designed the control of this. Then problem is what will happen? We go from here to there. We go from here to From the uncoupled converter, you go to here, what will happen? If you go from the uncoupled converter to this, what will happen? What will happen is the problem, okay? That problem can be solved or tackled using this Middlebrooks extra element theorem, okay? I have subtitle, Uninstrumental Means of Analyzing Stability and Performance of Coupled Converters. I think this is the maybe one of most famous contribution of Dr. Middlebrook. Okay, I think the most significant one is development of the loop gain measure technique. Okay, of the converter. That technique is adapted to many others that power electronics people, amplifier, all the feedback system. They are measuring. They are using to measure loop gain in the operational hardware, okay, experimentally. Okay. This one is also very significant. It has maybe the second biggest impact on power electronics, but the original work of this is developed by this guy, Hendrik Bode, the Bode plot guy. He made many contributions, many contributions. He was the man in the era of World War II, and he did develop the radar and some missile system, and the defense for the missile system, V1, 2, V1 something from the Dutch, right? Germany. So he was very famous, and at this time, he wrote one book. Okay, he was Bell Lab when he was writing this. After he moved to the Harvard University. Okay, this is the title of the book: Network Analysis and Feedback Amplifier Design. And at this very 2 pages, he insinuated this extra element theorem. Okay, very complicated and not easy to follow and swallow. And this guy, Middlebrook, somehow he modified significantly the most useful form for the power electronics people. Okay, that he named as the extra element theorem. And many power electronics people, they know this name of the extra element theorem, but they think this is extremely difficult, hard to understand, hard to use. Okay, that's not true. Okay, so I present this the simplest possible way, easiest possible way. Okay. Let me just introduce this slide, okay, and we'll come back in the Thursday to investigate this further. Okay, Middlebrook's extra element theorem. This is the reference, very important reference. This is the 2 papers Dr. Middlebrook wrote, and this is the 1 book, the Barche-Boporian, published maybe 20 years ago, something like that. Once I used that book as the text in my graduate course, and I found that book is extremely useful, pure gold type book. Okay, but people they are ignoring these things. Okay? They just stick with Ohm's law. Okay, more than that, they are avoiding. Okay, all right. And let me go through this. Maybe we repeat this in this coming Thursday. Okay, I have some definitions. This is the system. Okay, this is the circuit or network or system, and this is the input of our interest, and this is the output of our interest. You can select a pair of this arbitrarily. Assume you select this one and this one, and this is the one port here. You extend the one line segment here, and assume this G impedance element is located in between A and A prime. Okay, the network looks different. This thing is inside of this, and you take out one element. Okay, for our case, this will be what? Load impedance. Okay, because we don't know load impedance. Okay, so we assume, we identify this as the extra element. Okay, so we are interested in this. Suppose this is the loop gain of our converter, and assume this is the load impedance. We take out this and assume this is the extra element, designate it as the extra element. So this impedance of the circuit element component, which will be located across this, yet whose structure and AC characteristics, impedance characteristics are undetermined at this moment. Okay, at this moment, but later it will be known and it will be placed exactly at this port. Okay, so this circuit element is designated as an extra element. Okay, then equation extra element theorem says transfer gain, transfer function of interest, this one is given by this simple equation. This H infinity is transfer gain evaluate, assuming this is absent. Okay, assuming this is the infinity, assuming this is open, this is not present here, then this is take out. Okay, so this is the case of uncoupled converter for our case. So you do everything with uncoupled converter, and later on you get information about this. Okay, then you redo everything with this one. That is not our approach. Okay, that is the brute force method. We use this, and we add some correction factor, modification factor, which is given in this form. Okay, exactly in this form. The Bode, Hendrik Bode, predicted this. Okay, for the general cases, and the formula and the proof are very complicated. Okay, he proved in the general case. He used the matrix theory, cofactor theory, and with that he come up with some conclusion. Okay, hard to understand. And Middlebrook somehow she translated this into simpler language, and he wrote a paper. So we are using that. Okay, this is the form. This is the G is load impedance for case. This is load impedance. This form is called the bilinear form. Bilinear form means there are two bilinear functions of G. One single element of impedance of one single element of circuit member, which is this one, impedance of this is appearing here. Once here, this is linear, and this is another linear, so it's called bilinear form. Okay. So in Bode's word, he used this bilinear form. Okay. For our purpose, perform analysis without G is open. So this becomes very simple in many cases, but this is we should do this because we don't know G. Okay, G is not present at that time. So without G, we should do. Later on, G is coming in. Okay, then we use this and we add this. Okay, this zeta bar, G bar is some driving point impedance, which is very easy to evaluate. Okay, then we compare this. We use this. This one is very good. Okay, you compare this and this. If this one is much larger than this, okay, no, this one is much larger than 1, you ignore 1. Okay, if this one is much smaller than 1, you ignore this. Okay, same is true. So with this, our asymptotic approach is directly applicable. You compare magnitude of this, okay? Then you just use graphical method to construct this structure from this structure and this structure, asymptotic structure, Bode plot. Everything is graphical. If you start doing some calculation, algebraic work, something is going in wrong direction. Okay, all right. Then H infinity is the transfer gain evaluated with the assumption that extra element G is offset. Okay, or this impedance is infinity, and this is called as open circuit transfer gain. Okay, and G bar, this one small G bar is impedance seeing looking into this A port with this one 0. Okay, this is a very conventional one. When you are analyzing the output impedance, you assume input is grounded. Okay, you are using superposition principle. So this is the one you are doing all the time. Okay, many times you don't have to calculate this. You just look the system network through this port. Just watch it. Just seeing is enough in many cases. Okay, and so this is easy, and this one is a little bit difficult. Okay, to understand. This is the same as this one, but in this case, this is 0. VO is 0. This one is non-zero. Okay, very strange, right? Because input is non-zero, but output is 0. Okay, that can happen. That special condition is called output null condition, and you are evaluating or looking. You are watching this system through this hole, then you will see the impedance, driving point impedance. That impedance is called null driving point impedance. Okay. This means this UO is 0. This red one is extremely important. Output is neither shorted nor disconnected. It's unchanged, remain the same, but at some condition, this becomes 0, okay? With this one is not 0. That is the condition called open null condition, and the driving point impedance evaluate at the particular condition is called null driving point impedance. Okay? We come back this slide this Thursday, and I show some example, and we prove this. Okay? Then we will make use of it. Okay? This is very, very extremely useful. There are so many applications of this form. So maybe you have some idea how we're going to use that. Okay? But there is one simple application. There are many other applications. Suppose you have very complicated circuit, so you cannot, it's not easy to calculate transfer function of something. Typical example is something is connected between input and output directly. That is a problem, right? That's a problem. Then you assume this is what? Extra element. Then this loop is gone. Then everything becomes straightforward. And you find the transfer function with that condition. Later on, you add this correction factor, which is very easy to evaluate. Then you have the complete transfer function with everything. Okay? And maybe you assign one extra element. You assign two extra elements for some case. Okay? That can be done. Right? So there are very general circuit theorem, and that are presented in 2 papers. Okay, very difficult to understand, at least for my case. Okay, for some of you maybe not that difficult, or very complicated. Okay, but you don't have to go through all the pains there. Just to follow what I'll present this Thursday. Okay, all right. Thank you. Hi everybody, this is the direct continuation of previous lecture. Somehow I'd like to repeat this lecture slide, and I slightly modified this lecture slide. I added some diagram to explain the concept of ET in more easier way. Okay, so think about this. This is a converter. So maybe any converter, any PWM converter is power stage. This is the input voltage, and this input current. And this is the inside of this black box, and this is output. So we take out output and this out terminal, and load is connected between A prime and A. Okay? But in uncoupled converter, we are assuming this is open circuit, but still taking current. So we replaced this with the current source, which present the infinity load impedance. So in terms of this EET, this is gone. Okay. So think about this. So this is the situation, and this is assume we are trying to analyze the input impedance. Then this is input, and this is output. Okay. And the G is connected here, so this is the opening. When we evaluate the driving point impedance or null driving point impedance. Okay, so let's start with this. Definitions. This is the ET. This is some arbitrary network, something similar to this, and consider this VI is IS in this case, and UI is IS, and UO is VS. So this is input, and this is output. VS is output, and transfer function of our interest is, in this particular case, is input impedance of PWM converter. Okay, this is set up, and this G is unknown, unavailable. We don't have any knowledge about the impedance characteristics. Even structure is not fixed yet. So initially, we assume this is extra element. So then we use this. Okay. So let me explain this. So you have definitions. So in this case, this is the input, this is the output, and this is the two terminals, two line segment we extract out and we identify G here. So G is attached here. Eventually, this will be attached here in our uncoupled converter becomes coupled converter or load coupled converter. Okay, so this is the transfer gain of our interest, and G is one circuit element, impedance of one circuit element, which will be placed across A to A prime, but the structure and AC characteristics, input impedance characteristics are unknown or undetermined at this moment, and we define this as an extra element. Okay, so under this assumption, we assume this is the open circuit. It's not existing or presenting infinity impedance. So with that, we perform analysis to evaluate this or to evaluate this. Okay, so we use the small signal model of uncoupled converter. That is absolutely fine. There is no resistance, no this impedance there, but still okay. Okay, so we perform everything. So we discussed the analysis and control of uncoupled converter, and we found the design is the same as the previous resistor loaded converter. So all the standard procedure can be used with the slight modification. So perform analysis without G. You evaluate this input impedance, and later on G is known. So G is coming in some measurement or some simulation. Okay, then perform analysis all again with including G is not the approach you want to take. That is the bad approach. That is the brute force method, stupid method. So what we are trying to do is we use the result of this without G. That is here. Then you add just this correction factor or modification factor. Okay. So don't repeat the analysis all over again. Use the result of previous analysis and add some extra effect of this G, which was extra element. That's the basic idea of this extra element theorem. So this is ideally comparable with our approach. We identified the uncoupled converter, and later on we will have information about the G. Then we include G in our converter, just evaluating this. Okay, so this is the G. This load impedance is known. Okay, then we need to evaluate this. Okay, this structure is called bilinear form. There is one linear function of this G component, and another linear function is in the denominator. So there are two linear functions where the name bilinear from coming from. Okay, so this is the formula the Hendrik Bode proposed, and the Middlebrook somehow modified this using the concept of null driving point impedance, output null condition, and he introduced this into the Power Electronics Society about 40 years ago, and it was ignored for 30 years, about 20 years, and some people, they found the value of this. I'm the one of them, and I used this to analyze the DC power distribution system. So I'm the first one, and I'm the only one who employed this concept for the analysis of DC distribution power system. All right. So we have this term. Okay. So this is an extremely convenient term format. You will see that later. And H infinity is transfer gain of H. Evaluate with assumption that extra element G is absent, not present. G equals infinity, and H infinity denoted as the open circuit transfer gain. Okay, and we need to evaluate two transfer functions. One is G bar. G bar is the impedance looking into this A opening, this hole through this slot. Okay. So if you think about this is the output impedance, right? Because G is here, this is our voltage, and this is our terminal. So this is the, for this case, this is the output impedance of uncoupled converter, right? So think about this is the output impedance of uncoupled converter, and for the evaluation of the G bar, we assume the input is 0. So input is 0. Then this is 0. Okay? Input transfer function. This is the input of this GI. This input. Then this is the open circuit. Right? So input is 0. This is open circuit. So with this condition, we evaluate this G bar. And there is another driving point impedance defined this special condition. This special condition, output is 0. This does not mean the output voltage. Output of transfer function is 0. Output of transfer, for our case, this is 0. This 0 means this is shorted. Okay. For this case, this zeta bar is impedance looking into A prime slot under the special operation condition. This output of transfer function is 0. Not this output voltage. We are not talking about this output voltage. We are talking about output of this transfer function. Vs is 0. So this is the output impedance evaluate with input shorted. This is the regular output impedance. When we are evaluating output impedance, we always assume the input is shorted because of the superposition principle. So this is very natural things. But in terms of this terminal load, this simple output impedance evaluate with this shorted is called null driving point impedance. Okay, it depends on the definition of your this transfer gain. Okay, output. When you are saying the output is 0, that does not always mean output voltage is 0. What we are meaning is output of that transfer function of our interest is 0. Okay, right. Let me show one good example. So this is a very simple circuit. You have 4 resistance, and this is something very simple or something very complicated. We don't know what that is. That the characteristic is not known. So first we assume this is the extra element. So this is the open circuit. It is open circuit. Okay. Then brute force way, okay, is evaluate this, including everything. So G is here. Then the input to out. For this case, output is this voltage. Input to output transfer function is parallel combination of this path and this path plus this is the total resistance or impedance, and this is a voltage division of that part, and that is the voltage here. Then that voltage is further divided by this and this. So this is the second voltage division. So this is the input to output transfer function of this thing. Okay. G can be anything, right? Okay. So we are not using EET. We are using brute force method. I don't call it method, brute force manner, way, something like that. Okay. And we use EET for this simple case. This might be okay, but this is a very general approach. You can apply the very complex system. Okay. So ET equation is this one, H infinity, and this. Okay. So we need to evaluate this and this and this. Okay. G is coming later. Then H infinity is gain from here to there. This is the open. Okay. That's very easy. So we have a 3 resistor and we have the voltage division here. So this is the H infinity, and this G bar is the driving point impedance looking into this opening, this slot. Okay. with this is grounded, then that's very easy. There is a parallel combination of this and this plus this. Okay, this one. All right. Then this null deriving point impedance, we assume this is 0, right? This is 0. To make this 0, this current should be 0. This port is not shorted, not disconnected. It is not altered. So resistor is there. Then voltage becomes 0 means this current is 0. This current 0 means this current is 0. Then this is the what? This is 0 potential. Okay? Under this condition, you are looking into this slot, that what you are seeing is this point is ground and this point is ground. This is ground. Because of this condition, output null condition, then null driving point impedance is R2. Okay? That's simple. Right? So this is the case. This is the simplest case, and this is the normal case when evaluating this null driving point impedance. Okay? You don't have to calculate anything for many cases. Sometimes you do something. All right. So we already know the result. Okay. So here we use a formal approach. Definition of this zeta bar is this one. Null driving point impedance. This is 0. Okay. Then I is 0. I is 0. This potential is 0. Then the current coming in here from this terminal is this one. And this current should go this direction because this is 0 for the output null condition. Then voltage here is, this is 0, 0, and this is a negative potential. Voltage drop here is this one, and this current is going through this. This is I prime, and the voltage across this A prime port is, this is grounded, this is 0, 0 minus this potential, 0 minus something is this one. Okay? So this is the formal or stupid, not stupid, inconvenient way of evaluating this. So we find out V prime and we know I prime, then ratio of them is R2. Okay? So this is R2. We know this. And take a look at this with this. You are looking into this circuit through this hole. Then this is grounded. This is grounded. Then you are seeing is only R2. So this zeta bar is also R2. Okay, same thing. Okay, same result. This should be the same. Okay, they are same. I didn't check. They should be the same. Okay, same result. This is the nature of this ET. You don't see the advantage of ET here, but ET is extremely useful for other cases. This simple case is just example to show the implication of ET itself. One example here, another example. This is a practical example. So we already discussed this, okay? And we are doing this again. So this is the converter coupled with GL. So this is the load coupled converter. But initially we assume this is infinity. That is what? Uncoupled converter. So this is the input impedance of uncoupled converter. And this part is coming from the ET. Then we evaluate this, and the GL will come later. Eventually the information about GL will come. Then we use this expression. Okay, so GIU is evaluate with GL is infinity. There is this one. There is the GIU. There is our definition of uncoupled converter. We already defined this. Okay, so GIU is coming here, and this is what? This is null driving point impedance, and this is the input, and this is the output. Okay, so output is 0. So VS is 0. This is 0. Then this is what? Regular output impedance of uncoupled converter. It is null driving point impedance, but for this particular case, this is the regular output impedance of uncoupled converter. Okay. So then driving point impedance is this one. driving point impedance. For that case, input of this transfer function is 0. Okay, so this is 0. So when we are evaluating this, we assume this IO is 0. Okay, due to the superposition. So this is some auxiliary information, and input is 0, IS is 0, this is 0, that means this is open, input port is open. Okay, so this is the diagram of converter. So it's not working, input is gone. All right, so there is some problem measuring this. I don't know how to avoid the problem. Maybe there is a way of measuring this, but there is a way of simulating this. Okay, you have converter, uncoupled converter. There is an input, and you put eliminate the input part, and you put very large resistance in between, probably 1 mega ohm, something like that. Then it's practically open circuit, and measure this output impedance here. Then there it is, this one, G bar, driving point impedance. So this term is not measurable, yet can be simulated always. Okay? Then you know everything. So GL information will be eventually available. Evaluate this, you already evaluate this, then you evaluate everything. Probably you are wondering, we may use the expression of these transfer functions. We don't need that. We don't want to use that. The frequency response Bode plot of those transfer functions will be used. Okay, that the Bode plot of these transfer functions available from the measurement. Okay, and the simulation, and maybe you will ask, some guy will attach something, some equipment, some load subsystem. Then you may ask them, give me your impedance curve. Okay, load impedance information. You can ask them, all right? Then use that information in the form of Bode plot. Okay, that is the way of doing this. This is the pictorial illumination of ET. Now this is very easy. This is the fundamental equation of the ET. From here, if G is infinity, this becomes 1, this becomes 1, then H is same as H infinity, right? So this is the definition of this one. This is naturally embedded in this expression. So something natural, okay? This one, and this is driving point impedance. So you are looking into this network through this opening with this condition. Input is eliminated. Okay, so this is, you can evaluate by finding this and the calculating ratio. But in many cases, you just look through this opening, through this hole. Then this is seen. This will be seen directly. Okay. Same is true for this case. This is a null driving point impedance. Condition of this is 0, not grounded. This is 0, and this is there are something here. Okay. Then with that condition, using this condition, then it forces something will be 0 inside of this circuit. We have seen in the previous example, using that information, you can easily see this. Okay, so actually evaluating this ratio of this V prime divided by I prime is just one way of finding this null driving point impedance or driving point impedance. Better way is just looking into the circuit through this opening is the way I recommend. And many cases, for the converter case, this null driving point impedance is, many cases it is 0. Okay, the reason for that is when the output of your transfer function is out voltage, okay, then this will be 0. This output will be 0 for some case. Then this driving point impedance or null driving point impedance will become 0. Okay? Because we are using one point, one for the null driving point, driving point impedance or null driving point impedance, the other one for the transfer gain, input to output transfer function. So that port is shared by two different transfer functions. So if one is 0, the other one is 0, then makes this G bar or zeta bar becomes 0. Okay? So you will see that later. Don't try to analyze this. You see circuit, don't try to analyze this. Just watch it, then the necessary information will come out. Okay? And usually, furthermore, you don't have to calculate anything. You just find out the expression, the relationship between transfer functions, because transfer functions are already available in some. When you are analyzing the uncoupled converter, Bode plot of transfer functions are available. Okay? When you are attaching some load, you may ask them, show me the load impedance characteristic, something like that. Okay? Or you can simulate. They can simulate. So all the information is available in the Bode plot form. Then you don't have to calculate anything. Just to use the relationship between this. Okay? Proof of ET. Formal proof of ET for the general case is very challenging task. Okay? That proof can be a paper, just one paper. It requires n by n matrix, determinant theory, cofactor theory. Okay? But we don't need that. I spent several weeks to understand that paper, but that is not necessary. Okay? Use very simple case. Okay? Most of the case we are only dealing with two-port network, which is this one. Okay. Actually, this is the two-port network. This is the input, and this is input, and this is this is input, output, and output. There are two inputs, two outputs. That's two-port network. Okay. First step is this is the G. And we'll evaluate G bar, zeta bar, seen through this opening. Then we replace this G with this voltage source and the current source. Right? So assume this is the V plus minus I is then this voltage across this G is V, this is I. So I is in this direction, but to develop this positive voltage, I should come out. Okay, it should go up. All right, so we have negative sign here. Okay, then multiply this times negative of this times negative of this. Okay, I is this one, then minus I is this one, then they cancel. V is V. This is true. Okay, this is just a notation. All right, so this and this becomes same. Here we have G impedance element, and in here G is gone. Then you have this one and this one, and this IB is relationship between IV is this one, which is this one. They are same. Okay, so this representation and this representation are ideally equivalent. Okay, truly equivalent. So you have two different representations. This is the ET expression. This is the two-port network expression. This is something natural. Every student know this. Okay, every engineering, electrical engineers know this. All right, and additional relationship is some constraint between V and G and I, which is this. Okay, so we compare this one, and we find out the relationship between this and this, coefficient of this and this, something like that. Okay, so this is 1, this is 1, and from 1, H infinity is input to output transfer function. Evaluate when G is infinity. If G is infinity, this becomes unity, then this is the H infinity. Okay, and go back this here. So when G is infinity, then I becomes 0. Right? Because of I is this one, this is infinity, I becomes 0. Then here I becomes 0, this is 0, and the ratio of this is A11. Okay? So we know this H infinity is just A11 here. All right. Then this one, this is driving point impedance. In this driving point impedance is defined as the impedance seen through this slot with input becomes 0. You change this. Okay? This definition, input is 0, and the ratio of this is this G bar. Okay? So this UI is 0. So UI is 0. This is 0. And the ratio of this and this becomes A22. So G bar, driving point impedance is A22. They are equivalent. They are same thing. Okay? So, and from this equation, you have three equations and find out the relationship between input and output variables. Okay? You eliminate V and I using this, then you have this expression. This is very easy to derive. Okay? You can easily find out this result. All right? Then this is the H expression, and this is the H expression shown here. We compare them term by term. All right? Then this is A11, this is H infinity, this is the A22, and this is the driving point impedance. So everything is okay. The shape, its structure is okay. If this one is null driving point impedance, then this one and this one is the same, and we prove the ET. Okay? We start from this equation, and this equation is somehow modified into this form, which is the form of the ET. So ET is correct form, right? Same information is here, but this form is more convenient to use. So next task is we prove this. Okay? So output null condition. This is a 0, right? Output is null. This is 0. And with this condition and this condition, this V prime is the particular values of UI and I prime, UI prime and I prime, that make the output null condition. Okay? You don't have to find out this case, but assume this has occurred, right? Then with that, you solve this, and you find out the ratio of this. You find out the ratio of this. Then you can easily derive this. Okay? So this appears here. So this is what? Definition of null driving point impedance. Then this one is the same as this. So we complete the proof of this. Okay? This one is very easy. Okay? So this one is especially easy because we only dealing with two-port network, but two-port network is more than enough for our case, right? Okay. If you have some complex case, okay, so then you apply this two-port network result twice, okay? When this truly uncoupled converter, this load impedance is missing, source impedance is missing, then for that case, there are two extra elements. So assume one is there and apply the ET for the other one. Then with this, you apply ET to this previous one. Okay. If you have three extra variables, you apply this simple ET for the two-port network 3 times, right? 4 times, something like that. Okay. So it is something accumulating the result. All right. You have a system. You attach to one thing, okay, for the DC power distribution system, and some other guy attached another thing there. Then you add them as extra element. Later on, the other guy attached something. Then you add it. You treat it as the extra element. So you are always dealing with two-port network. Okay, so that is the way of developing the design strategy for the complicated DC power distribution system. It really doesn't matter how many converters are there, what kind of these connections are there. It can be always applied. Okay, so maybe this one can be programmed. Okay, then maybe everything becomes automatic. All right, understand this, right? Don't be scared about the null driving point impedance. That is the easiest transfer function to evaluate actually, because we have output null condition that greatly simplifies the circuit operation. It makes many things zero. Then it becomes apparent. The key component will come out automatically, and we just use that. Okay, let me explain another example. All right, this is again the load coupled converter. Okay, first we analyzed using the uncoupled converter, so we know H infinity, and the GL is coming later, so we assume this is unknown and treat this is as the extra element, okay, and we use this, right? And there are 4 variables, so any of them, this one, and any order of them, okay? The way of defining the transfer gain is your choice, arbitrarily. This one can be input, this one can be output, or vice versa, something like that. So where this ratio is a ratio of arbitrarily selected and arbitrarily ordered pair among these 4 variables. Okay, so this is the 2-port network, and then general expression is this. All right. So there are 1 and this one, and 1 and this one. So select this one and this one. Okay. Ignore this. This is the one case. And select one, select this, another case, select one, select this, another case, select one, and this one, another case. Okay? So we are only dealing with these 4 different cases. For example, assume for the some frequency range, GL. Later on, we have information about GL anyhow. Then magnitude of the GL is larger than this one and larger than this one, some frequency band. Then use this one. For some frequency bands, this zeta bar is larger than this, and this X bar is larger, G bar is larger than this. Then you take this one and this one cancel, then use this relationship, not equation. You are not touching equation at all. Okay? Just understand this relationship. And for the some frequency range, this is much larger than this, then this guy is gone, and this is much larger than this one is gone, then you have this and this, which is this. Okay? With this, we only consider these four parameters. What will happen? They are very similar. So this one is the same, becomes 1. We don't care. Okay? There will be special case, but first we are considering only this. For the special case, we treat separately. Okay? If you remember the asymptotic plot of Bode plot, we are using this only line segment at this point. We know there is a 3 dB deviation. We already know, and this error is predictable and negligible. Right? Same thing will happen here. So don't worry about that. Okay? Only these 4 cases are important. This is a good example. This is very good example, genius example. Okay, let me explain this. You have something. So suppose this is the uncoupled converter. Transfer function of this uncoupled converter without considering the load impedance is H infinity. It's known. Okay, we analyzed this and we obtained Bode plot of that. Okay, so this is known. This is known. So H infinity is known, and from the uncoupled converter, you can evaluate this. Right? without knowing the G. We always We always evaluate this. They are known. So the known factor is this is known, and this is known, and this is known. Okay. So three variables H infinity, three transfer functions H infinity and zeta bar and G bar are known in advance. You analyze this from the uncoupled converter. Okay. Later on, it is find out. We get the information from the load subsystem. Load impedance is something like this. Okay. Then what will happen? This one. We without considering load with infinity node, we obtain this. Now this load is not infinity. Then what will happen here? Is shown in this graph. Okay. All right. So there are 5 regions, intervals 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay. And this region, this G, this is the load impedance obtained later. Finally, you obtain this data, and at this region, this G is much larger than this one and this one. Okay, so this region is G dominant region. Okay, then this H infinity and H are the same. Okay, because of this, so they are gone. Then H and H infinity should be the same. Okay, so this part is saying that. And the same is true for this part, and in this part, this G is much larger than this. In this part, G is larger than this, and is larger than this blue curve. It is going down like this. So this for the interval 1, 3, 5, we have this. Okay. Then during that interval, this H and H infinity are the same. So that interval, so this is initially known, and the new H follows the original H's in this region. Okay, maybe there is some deviation here, this part, but we don't care. Okay, that is not important. All right. How about this region? This region 2. Then this is dominant. This G bar, zeta bar is dominant. Okay, so zeta bar is larger than this G. Okay, so for that case, zeta bar is larger than G bar. So we need to take this term, and this term G is this G bar is this one is much smaller than this. So we only have 1 in the denominator, and we in the numerator. We ignore this, then we have this, okay? Then expression is this, right? So this is the linear scale. In log scale, magnitude is addition of that. So this is the original, no, not original. This uncoupled converter transfer function is here. Then on the top of that, you add difference between them, okay? This is a subtraction in log scale. So this one minus this one is this A region is added here because it comes in the numerator. Okay, so during this region, this becomes like this, right? And look at this area. In this area, so this is dominant. So you have this much. So we should consider this much, but this much is coming in the numerator. Okay, so this is the G bar. G bar is dominant, but G bar is in the numerator. So we should subtract this much from H infinity. Okay, so result is this one. Right? You don't have to know the equation. Important thing is this shape of this frequency response. Okay, if you use the transfer function, put them all together and sketch the Bode plot, you cannot obtain this. Okay? For the wide region, this G, H infinity remain the same, and this part is bulging up by this much, and this part is dipping by this much. Area A is here, area B is here, and area A is this one, this minus this, right? So this one is a ratio of this, which is this. Okay? So this is a very good example. And now you understand the power of this ET. Okay? You don't touch equation, not at all. Okay? Without equation, you can predict many things, many interaction things. Okay? In the frequency domain. Right? That result can be transformed into the time domain response. So with this, you can predict the transient response of anything, right? And with this, you can establish the design strategy of the whole system. Okay. Okay. So this is the topic 13, and this was the lecture 1, the introductory lecture for the ET applied the uncoupled converter, or ET applied to coupled converter. Actually, we start out uncoupled converter, and we use the result of the ET to obtain dynamics of uncoupled converter. Okay, so I think I went through the basic idea about this approach. All right. Next topic. In the next topic, we'll take the closed look at the ET application to load coupled converter. So we just generally, intuitionally explained the load coupled converter, but the detailed analysis will be covered here. Okay, but still this is some introduction, and another topic will come later. So in the topic 14, the full details, complete details about this dynamics and stability and the design of load coupled converter will be covered. So today we stop here, okay? And the next lecture we'll go through the second lecture about the ET application to coupled converters. Okay? You are finishing up earlier than usual. This is a special case. All right. Okay. Thank you.